Hi and welcome to the channel. My name's Drew, this is Just a Guy Linux. And a couple 3 weeks ago, the Debian project turned 30, which made me a little nostalgic, simply because I remember 30 years ago, and it kind of made me think, holy crap, what was I doing 30 years ago? And frankly, I had my first tech job 30 years ago. So allow me to go back just slightly further, back to about 1985. I was already out of high school. Yes, I'm that old. And I had a really nice album collection. Hopefully I don't have to explain what an album collection is. That would really make me sad. Anyway, I had over 1,000 albums at the time. And one morning, my mother screamed for me to wake up because the garage that housed my stereo and all my records was broken into. And boom, no stereo, no albums. I'm just like, well, shit. So insurance paid me over $3,000 for my stolen equipment. My dad, I guess, negotiated with them how much the albums were actually worth and so on and so forth. And so with that $3,000 plus dollars, instead of putting all the money back into vinyl, I decided to buy my first computer. Behold the leading edge Model D, which had two, not one, two 5¼ inch floppy drives, no hard drive, and a monochrome monitor. An 8088 processor with 256K of RAM. It was state of the art. So the question is, how much did this cost? Well, between what you see here plus a 14.4 modem plus a dot matrix printer, it ended up being well over $1,700, if I recall correctly. So what could you do with this behemoth of technology that had no hard drive and only 256K of RAM? You would run MS-DOS. So MS-DOS was very, I don't know if you're familiar, but kind of looks a little bit like this, where you're you're using a command line, and not nearly as fancy. Not nearly as fancy and not nearly as powerful, but at the same time, that's what we had back then. I can't even tell you how jealous I was when my friend got an 80286 processor and had, I think it was an MS-DOS 3.1, and he even had a 20 megabyte hard drive, which was just unheard of. So I was jealous and ended up going to the 80386 processor. Now, when I did that, I poured through this publication. I don't know if any of you remember this or if you're old enough, but this was something that you would go into your 7-Eleven and buy a computer shopper, and it had all the parts or it had the whole thing put together, and I would pour over the 800 pages trying to find the absolute best deal and upgrading my computer. Fast forward slightly further, and Windows 3.1 started to be on everybody's desktop. Now, it was simply an overlay for DOS. You could not run Windows without having DOS present. And by the way, take a look. You got to have color schemes, and it being a floating window manager, incredibly cool, and still is, for that matter. Having a floating window manager is not what I use, but still, the majority of people use floating window managers. Now, what I remember more than anything else during this time, which is prior to Windows 95 coming out, and Pentium chips for that matter, was the incredible change when it comes to your most used software. WordPerfect was #1 without a doubt for word processing in DOS and in probably Windows 3.1 as well. Once Windows 95 came out, it lost market share in a huge way. So basically what Microsoft did was destroy all competition when Office 95 came out. So you had WordPerfect, which ended up losing market share to Microsoft Word. Lotus 123 was huge back in the day and ended up losing all of its market share to Excel. Now, Harvard Graphics, I don't know, this is something that a lot of people don't really remember probably, but Harvard Graphics was huge for presentation software. And then obviously they lost all their market share to PowerPoint. And DBase 3 Plus, which is something I used even in college, that lost all of its market share basically to Microsoft Access, which was part of Office 95, but only in the professional edition. So you had to actually get the more expensive edition in order to use Microsoft Access. But you wanted it because it worked with Excel. So at least this is how I remembered. I remembered Windows 95, but I also remember a completely separate project, not even intermingling the code, was Windows NT, which was a much better OS compared to Windows 95 and Windows 98. 100% better if you ask me. As I said, I'm feeling nostalgic, so let me impart another story to you. Back in the mid-90s, I'm working for a civil engineering software company, and we included Visual Basic for applications within our software. So I travel out to Microsoft in Redmond to demonstrate how we had incorporated their tools into our software. They were fascinated by it. So they sent me out to Comdex to do some more demonstration in Vegas. It was an awesome time. Fast forward slightly further, 1998, I take a job with an internet company. And one of the things that I did, and still do for that matter, is understand how to monetize traffic. And you can't do that without looking into search. Now, here's a group of search engines that basically are irrelevant at this point. And in just my personal opinion, Alta Vista was probably the best search of this group. But strangely also, Yahoo not in this group. So, and I actually know quite a bit about Yahoo because we used to be partners with them. So between about 98 and I would say through 2005, we had the dot-com bubble, but we also had a massive recession in there as well, where basically it was a correction in the marketplace. Some of these web companies were not sustainable, and they didn't make it. So more than 15 years ago, I started using Google. I think it was called Google Apps right there it says it, Google Apps at the time, because it was a whole suite of products that made a lot of sense to me. In fact, I put at least 2 nonprofit organizations into Google Workspace or Apps for Education at the time, because I thought that they needed that kind of infrastructure for their organization. So because I'm at the age that I am, and seemingly making me more entrenched into what I've been using for the last decade and a half, I have been using the last few weeks to really evaluate how I want to move away from some of the tools that I've been using. Thank you if you have watched to the end here. Granted, I will tag this and title this video so that you understand that I wasn't going to be doing anything really Linux related in this video, which I normally do. But the next one, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the tools that I am going to transition to in the future. Maybe it helps somebody and maybe it doesn't. I think more than anything else is going to determine how late to the game I am on some of these products and tools that you guys have probably been using for a long time, much longer than I will. So thanks for hanging, and I'll see you next time.